Alright guys, I'm back up on the Pinot Creek again, and I know you guys have seen me fish this spot several times, and I wanted to start to try to be a little bit more instructional on these videos, so hopefully you guys can hear me. With the highway just sitting right up above me, it's kind of a little bit hard to hear, but the water clarity is super clear today. And so I'm sure they're going to be able to see me and see anything I throw up at them. But I tell you, this is a great spot. You'll see way up there's a little bit of a waterfall up there, but you can see the structure. A lot of rocks along this edge. And usually what happens on these falls is that you'll see a step down, and about 20-30 yards out you'll start to see some holes. Sometimes it's 10 yards out, sometimes it's 5 yards out. And the smallies just tend to hold up in these big holes, the bigger ones. Sometimes they're up close and they're up near the ripple, but most of the time they're not. Most of the time they're holding up the structure, and they're out 10 to 20, 30 yards. And they're waiting. These bigger fish tend to be a little bit more patient, as you can imagine, than the smaller to mid-sized fish. So where I've usually caught them the most is, see this bigger rock here out to this little point here with the tree, is where I tend to catch the most. And I can already see suckers and other fish. And I've caught them over here, but the deeper the water is where they tend to hold. And you can see the emerald. You can see the emerald green water with the sand on the side. And so what I'm going to try to do on this one is I'm going to start working from this bar here and work all the way along this edge. And what you'll see along this edge is that as I throw it towards those deeper holes, the deeper side of the hole, and let it settle, that's when I'll start to end up getting a lot of the bites that end up typically having the bigger fish. And today I'm using that silver and black shad looking bait that I really do like. It's that paddle tail, and man, it just looks really, I got a nicer one following me. This one's about a 10 to 12 incher. He came off, because again, this is super clear water, so they can really see me in this water today. And so I'm gonna have to entice that one to get me. I'm gonna have to throw back up there, but that one was a good 10 to 12 incher, and he definitely wanted it. And again, this clear water, it's going to be hard for them to bite, because they're going to be able to see that bait, and if it ain't real, they ain't pouncing on it. I'm going to have to catch them on the reaction more than sight fishing today, I think. So I'm going to have to put it right next to them, and they're gonna end up reacting to it versus following it and hitting it, which is what they typically do in the darker, cloudier water. They'll follow that bait for a while in the cloudier water, and they'll end up eventually pouncing on it. But in this clear water, they'll follow it for a little bit, but they'll see that it's not real, and they'll bounce a lot quicker. That one was probably about a 9 to 11 incher, but see how I'm casting right up into that dark. And I've caught 13, 14, 15 inchers in this spot before. There's nice sized smallies in this hole. It's just trying to getting them to hit today on this bait. I might have to go to a darker bait, but we'll see. That the honey hole's right here, right next to this big bush, right here on this point. There's a big rock up here, right up there, that they tend to hang out right on the underside of this big rock. And usually the big one's sitting right there, and that's where I end up usually nailing her. I don't see I don't see too many. Oh, there we go. There we go. There. Oh, missed it. Missed it. Missed it. Missed it. Missed it. That one was a nice one. That one was about a 9-10 incher there. Now she came from the right. I just happened to be looking somewhere else and not realizing my line was moving. So let's go back over there. Maybe she's straight up in that deeper hole. See if she'll hit me again this time. On those, hopefully you hope they just got the plastic part and they didn't really get too much of the metal. But that was a nice fish. That might have been the one I saw earlier up here. This hole usually holds a few nicer sized smallmouth. And in this clear of the water, I'll be able to see their black tails pretty easily. I don't get a lot of spots and largies in this creek, and so usually when I'm in other waters like Yoakum or Dardine or Platinum and some of these other ones I've fished, you know, I'll look for that black stripe of a spot or a largemouth. But smallies, it's the black tail. When you're looking in clear water like this, that's what you're looking for. You're not going to end up having a stripe, obviously, on a fish like that. Instead, you'll see their black tail. See, like right there, I'm just now seeing one. It's a good 10 to 12 incher swimming by, and that's probably the one. There we go. There we go. Now that's a nice one there. This one's about a 9 incher. There we go. Maybe about 10 or 11 incher on here. And this one again, this was the one I saw earlier that I missed. Probably. There's a couple of them in here. I just saw one that's 10 or 12. This one's about 11, my guess. And you know, and that's a nice healthy smallmouth. On the creek like this, you're going to end up catching, you know, if you catch about 10 to 15 of these fish, you're having a great day on a creek this size. The size that's, you know, the deepest holes are 3 to 5 feet. If you catch about 10, 15, 20 of those and happen to catch a few, maybe 1 or 2 15 inchers, that's a great day on a creek like this. Now that's one of them that I know that's up there, and I just happened to see another one that had swum by that was about the same size. Now there's a big one in here. I've caught her before, and she's that 15 I had on the first time I ever went out here. I don't know if she'll be in here today, but we'll see. Now that was a nice starter fish for today. And like I said, if I catch about 15, 20 of those, it's a good day. But them smallies, they'll circle a hole like this. They'll just circle around it and keep looking for stuff that's going to fall. The bigger fish may hold up and backside into a hole. They'll use their tail like a paddle and flush out all the dirt and the rocks and everything else to make them a nice little sanctuary where they can settle in and be able to feel safe. And then they'll just sit there and wait until something big comes by and nabs it. That's the nice thing about those big fish, is they're real patient, but they're also pretty predictable. You can see, I don't know if you can see it on the video here, but I've got 3 or 4 nice sized rocks, and you can see it on the back side or the bottom side of these rocks is a real dark side. And that dark side is where they settle in. They'll either go up sideways to it or they'll back into it, and they'll end up just hanging out there, waiting for stuff to swim by, and they'll use that as an attack zone. And you can swim by it fast, you can swim by it slow and drop it right in there and see if they patiently come up to it. I mean, I've done pretty much all types of speeds on these types of situations like this, and it just depends. I mean, it also depends on the time of day and whether or not there's rain coming through. And I mean, a lot of you guys know that you got to work the weather patterns and to see, you know, where the weather patterns are on these fish. Now, I don't see the big girl in here today. I've just seen those two that were, you know, the 10 to 12 inchers. So I don't know where she's at today, the big girl. She might, there we go. That's a bluegill. That's another thing too, is the bluegills, the nuisance fish. I don't mind catching them, they're fun at times, but after a while they get to be a pain in the butt. Especially when you're trying to catch nice sized smallies. Now, I'm gonna keep fishing up here. Up here there's a rock that I've caught some nice sized smallies off of. And they tend to end up really holding those nicer smallies too. See, again, as it gets shallower up along and through here, there's bluegill up along in here, and there'll be some 7 to 9 inch smallies, a little bit smaller than that, but there's always a chance where you get a bigger one. Now, that'll happen, but the reason why I like this one up here, I'll show you this rock up here, and I'll fish this rock up here. I'm not seeing a lot of bigger smallies along this last 10 yards, but so here's this rock right here. On the left side of this rock, you can probably see, hopefully on this video, it gets a little green. It gets a little bit deeper. If I'm right, that smallmouth will be on that left side of that rock, or right on the underside of that rock in the middle. That's where the hole is. I fished this spot before, so I'll cast up a little bit past it, real slow, and then I'll bring it over to the right there, and then there we go. Now that was a little bluegill. That was not a smallmouth. So my guess is the smallie is probably on the back side of it. So I'll cast right there and see if she's sitting there. Now, it's really shallow now, shallower than usual. So there's our first bluegill today. That's some type of pumpkin seed or goggle eye or something. But I've caught a smallie or two on the back side of this rock before, and I think it's just so shallow right now that they're just not there today. I think the bigger ones are going to be held up in them deeper holes. See, I'm just not seeing any smallmouth activity. So there's a lot of bluegills that are along that point, but I've caught nicer smallmouth on that bed. Hopefully you can see that on this one today, that, you know, there's a good spot for a smallmouth to hold up in. She'll sit right under the underside of that rock, and you'll cast up and bring it back, and she'll come up and knock the heck out of it. I think the way that this water is looking right now, I mean, I caught that one, but I think the way it's looking right now is it's going to be really shallow and super clear. So I'm going to have to go down the creek and look for the deeper holes. I just think being up this far, this is the upper part of this creek, and I just don't think they're going to be up here today. Now, there's a traveler. Now, that's a nice little smallmouth. That's about I spooked him. That was about a 6-incher. Maybe they're up here. There's a deeper part of this up on the left side and the right side. I mean, there's a little bit of deepness to the right side, but this is about as far as I'm going to go today, up the stream, up the creek, just because it's really shallow from here on out. And from what I can tell, it's going to be really shallow up here today. So I think I'm going to just probably head back down, go to the deeper holes that I know of, but we'll try a cast or two up here and see if maybe there might be one held up in this really shallow water along this edge. There's one right there. Yeah, those are small fish, but sometimes a nice 6 to 9 incher will hold up right up around there along this edge. Oh, there we go. Got one. There it is, right there. Okay. So there again, I've caught this fish up there before. It's again real predictable. You know, you're fishing off this waterfall here, and you come out. I don't like to get right up next to those bubbles too often, because I find out that I mean, there might be some smallies that are holding up there, but around these creeks, I've been fishing so many in the Missouri area. It just tends to be that these smallmouths like to hang back. They like to hang back about 10 or 15 yards in the deeper part, and they'll end up hanging back here and waiting for the fish to swim by, or you know, crawfish or other stuff that'll end up swimming off those falls. But let's go back to the honey hole here and see what comes up. My battery's about ready to run out on this one, and I don't want to make this video too much longer than what we've got it already. We're about 15-20 minutes in. I'm just going to post this one as an instructional video, and I didn't catch really the bigger one I wanted to catch on this point that I usually do, but I just wanted to show you guys how I fish these spots like this, and kind of get you guys to know what's inside my mind as far as hitting a spot like this, and hopefully that'll help you guys in the future on fishing a creek bed like this, and knowing where the fish will be held up. Now, I've come back to spots like this. Now, see, there's that 6-inch to 9-inch smallie. That's a nice one, and she's just sitting right there. I mean, she's just hanging there, and she's gonna come up and bite that. Now, I spotted that fish. Watched that fish come up there and saw that fish, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna catch that fish. And that's the fun thing about these clear creeks is you can see them. I mean, you just have to be patient and wait for them to settle in. That one had settled into that spot. Now, that one's about as big as that one I caught earlier, and probably its twin. Now, I think these are probably the two males that hang out with the big 14 and 15 incher that's up there, and they swim back and forth. I've probably caught that fish before, most likely, because I know I'm one of the few guys that comes down here and fishes this creek. But that big one's got to be up there. I just don't know what she's wanting to eat on today. I'm really surprised that she hasn't come up and knocked the heck out of this yet. But at least I got her two suitors there, and maybe she's further down the creek. But I hope you guys like this here, a little bit of instructional side of fishing. Like I said, it's how I fish these creeks, and so I hope you enjoy this one today. I'm going to post 2 videos today, you know, this instructional one, and then obviously the one for all the fish I catch today. But it's been a good start so far. I mean, to catch 2 fish like that is pretty good for only being here for about 15-20 minutes. So it's looking like it's going to be a good fishing day. Now, I just don't know where the big girl is, and she's probably already headed out. This is the second week of August. It's cooled down a good amount. This is probably one of the coldest Augusts we've had in a long time, and I'm guessing that, you know, that big girl, she might have moved out already. She may have said, nope, I'm out, and bounced. But I've got a big one. There's one over there. She just followed me up there. She's just not wanting it. And I don't know if that was the one I already caught, but there was one out there that was a nice size smallie. Now, see if she'll hit me this time. There's one in this pool that keeps following my bait, but it's not hitting it. And that was a nice size fish right there. Just not hitting it. You know, so sometimes what I'll do is if I got a smallie that's really just being real particular, I may end up switching. I'm gonna go to that one bait I was talking about on my last video. Hopefully I got it set up, this dark blue. Yeah, I got it set up. This Ned Bomb looked really good, and maybe they just want to see a darker color over there. And the tail is obviously different than that paddle tail, but this blue Ned Bomb, maybe that's what she'll like. There's another big one up in there. There it is on the back side. It's way back there. I see it. Right up in there. I just don't know what. Yeah, there's a couple of them cruising back and forth. Those are nice 10 to 12 inches. Now, I don't know if those are the ones I've already caught or if they're different ones. But there's a lot of suckers up here too that are in that same length of 9 to 12 inches that I can't tell. Now that's a smallie right there. Now that might have been the one I caught, but I can see the black tails moving up here. Ooh, that spooked one up there. Boy, I really like the way this reacts in the water, though. This is that Ned Bomb. And man, this thing just goes back and forth and bounces back and forth. And the reason why I like that going back and forth and bouncing presentation is because it looks a whole lot like a crawfish. Most of you guys have seen crawfish swimming in the water, and they do swim a bit erratic sometimes, and they'll go a little sideways, and man, I tell you, the smallies just get really sensitive when those crawfish swim in the water like that, and they know that something's up. They're either injured or just not paying attention, and that's when the smallies will knock the heck out of them and everything. So this one's definitely reacting the way I was hoping it was going to react in the water, and so hopefully the smallies will knock the heck out of it. Now I got one coming up to me. We'll let that one just fall. But yeah, just not going for it right now. So I've probably fished this hole about as much as I can. Didn't find the big one today, but hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.